Welcome to the Big World Made Small podcast for the adventure traveler. I'm thrilled you're here. My name is Jason Elkins, and in addition to being your host, I'm also a former U.S. Army paratrooper, third-generation commercial hot air balloon pilot, paramotor pilot, ex-Montana fly fishing guide, advanced open water scuba diver, and a full-time nomad that's visited more than 30 countries on 6 continents. As a seasoned adventure travel expert with a passion for creating and sharing meaningful experiences, I'm on a quest to impact the lives of adventure travelers, the tour operators they rely on, and the communities that host them. Every week, I bring you exclusive interviews with fascinating adventure tourism experts who have agreed to share their personal stories, favorite destinations, and some invaluable travel insights they've picked up along the way. We'll enjoy a casual conversation, create some connections, and likely share some laughs. It's my hope that by the end of each episode, this big world will feel just a bit smaller. Let's get started, shall we? Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Big World Made Small podcast for the adventure traveler. Today, we're doing something slightly different, still along the same lines of adventure travel and getting out and exploring, but it will be a little different, and you'll see why here in just a moment. Today, we've got Mari-Liis Luha. She's the sales director for see, I knew I was going to get it wrong. Taisto Bus Company. And Mari-Liis, I know I pronounced that wrong, so help out our listeners and make sure that they hear it at least one time correctly. How do you pronounce the company name?
Hello, everybody. The company name is Taisto Bussid, but we can keep on the shorter version, Taisto Bus Company.
To make it easier for Jason. Well, I appreciate that. How many times did I repeat it before I pushed record and then still stumbled right over it? I know it's an easy word for you. I guess not so much.
Rhymes. It's not so bad. Estonian is really difficult language.
Well, you say that now, but just a moment you said in Estonia we pronounce it pretty much exactly like it's written.
Yeah, that's true.
But the way, anyway, the way. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Mari-Liis, I'm so happy to have you here on the show. This is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a nice conversation. And let's do this. We're going to really get into kind of your background, how you got from where you were to where you are now. But before I do that, especially with the way I slaughtered the pronunciation of the of the company's name, let's give everybody a quick idea. What is Taisto Bussid Bus Company in Estonia? What do you guys do?
One more time, hello to everybody. I'm really nice to be here and then to have this conversation with you. Our company is bus rental company. We are here already over 30 years. We work almost all over Europe. And at the moment, we have 30 mostly bigger charter buses. I have been working here in the company now 24 years and 11 months. So next month in August, I will celebrate my 25th anniversary. So
very cool. I bet you have a lot of stories.
Pretty thing, don't you think?
I bet you've seen a lot of things change, both with the company, tourism, and probably Estonia as well. And I'm excited to chat a little bit about Estonia because it's not an area that I know very well. I've never been, and I have some ideas in my head, but they're probably not quite right. So you're going to help me correct some of those. But before we do that, real quick, you mentioned bus rentals, and some of our listeners are going to wonder, does that mean I rent the bus and I drive the bus, or is this charters? Do they come with drivers? That type of thing. So let's clear that up.
It's a charter bus company, so this means our clients are basically all tour operators, companies with people over 10 persons, schools, some kind of sports clubs, sports unions. So basically every collective which is bigger than 10 people. So we provide transport for all of them. And we really do work all over the Europe. So from Tallinn to Spain to even Morocco, Turkey, so, the forest places where we have been with our buses. So we do it all. It's a big variety.
Yeah. And some of our listeners might be listening to this. Well, Jason, where's the connection with adventure travel? We use the term adventure travel here on the show quite a bit. And anybody that's listened to this has heard me say, well, that's a kind of, the definition is dependent on the person. I've always told people it's not big cruise ships. It's not all inclusive beach resorts. Um, so why are we having this conversation, with you? One is because you're interesting and I want to hear your story, but also it's relevant to a lot of our listeners that are tour operators. I know that there's people who listen to this show that, because I see them in the groups. I'm in some social media groups and they say, hey, does anybody know a charter company that can do transportation for me? And in here, or here. So that's why I thought it would be really worthwhile for you to come on, because you can have a group of 10, 20, 40 that are going on some sort of adventure. So, that it's different for everybody, but that's, anyway, I just want to share. That's kind of why I thought it would be super interesting for our listeners to hear from you.
Yeah.
And now that we got that out of the, we're going to come back to that, but now let's go back. You said you're almost 25 years there. So I want to know what you were doing before this, before you came onto the company, and how do you think you got there? So tell us a little bit about your childhood, if you will. We won't analyze it too much, but
Well, my childhood lies back in Russian time. I come from a small town in the center of Estonia. Of course, back in these times, we didn't have much possibilities to travel. But I was lucky. Our school had a partner school in Germany. Already during my school times, I had the possibility to travel to Germany few times. And of course, this woke up my interest in traveling and then traveling business. And this to work in tourism has been always, already since my childhood, like my biggest dream. And when I finished my gymnasium, I went to university to study German language. And then I already started to look for a job in tourism. I tried few travel agencies. They didn't want me. I don't know why, but now I can say it was lucky that it went out like this. And then I found Taisto and fight it through a really big competition to get the place there. And then already during my university studies, I started as a sales manager. This was 19 Oh, sorry, 2000 it was, not 19. Yeah, year 2000 in August.
okay.
Like I said, now next month it will be 25 years. And see,
So I have a few questions before we go any further.
yeah.
First of all, do you remember how old were you the first time you were able to leave Estonia and go to Germany?
Let me think. I was 13 or 14 years old. It was still, Germany was in two parts, Eastern Germany and Western Germany. And then we had the school in Eastern part. And then when we went the next time, the wall was already taken off, so that we could also travel to West Germany. And during back these times, this was absolutely a huge thing. It was
Oh, I can imagine.
available only for very rare occasions. So this was a really huge thing back this time.
What did your parents think of you just initially going to East Germany around 13? Was that a big deal for them?
Of
Tell me a little bit about kind of what I would think so. But were they supportive or was?
Of course, this was very big thing. The funny story was that uh, uh, all no, we didn't have our own passports this time yet because we were just children, and then the principal of our school was like the father for all the children which were traveling. And our pictures and names and everything was filled into principal's passport.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So he had like 15 children in the passport. So he was responsible for us, and then we had to be all in his passport.
Was
So
this
yeah.
was this an attempt to make it look like you all were his children for some reason? It wasn't, right?
This was official visit, and it was not possible to have no, we were like 13, 14 years old, and we didn't have our parents in the group
Right.
traveling with us. So he was responsible for us, and we were all in his passport.
Okay.
And so I can remember that this was very funny for us because we have never seen something like this before.
I've spoken with a few people here on the show that had a similar experience. Obviously, it's not your experience, but what I hear you saying kind of sounds familiar to other people that mentioned they had an opportunity for one reason or the other to leave the, is it appropriate to say, Soviet bloc countries?
Yeah.
And they had the opportunity to go somewhere else, and they were just really kind of just impacted, I guess, by the different cultures, different things. I'm curious, at that time, were the financial or economic situation, was it very different between Estonia and Germany? So like when you went to Germany, did it seem like things were a lot different?
Yes, it was very, very different because I can remember for Estonia got his independent to approximately at the same time, and then we didn't have much here at home, and our German friends sent us packages with chocolate and I don't know, with some kind of different food, so that for example, for the first time, then I got Ferrero Rocher chocolate, those candies. And this was like a dream because I have never seen something like this. No, it's such a small thing, but the difference was huge. No.
Were your parents, so I'm curious because I spoke with someone else that had mentioned when she had left, I don't, honestly, off the top of my head, I can't remember which country she was in, but she'd went to another part of Europe, and the grocery stores were full of stuff, and there were just so many different options. And I remember she had said that she had a little, one of those little uh, box cameras or whatever that she had with her, and she was traveling, and she was reluctant to take photos of the grocery stores full of stuff because she didn't want her mom to feel bad back home. She didn't want to feel like, oh, look at all the great stuff over here, but we don't have it in our country. Do you recall any feelings of like that, or were you excited to go back and tell your parents about all the stuff you'd seen?
I would say the other way around. Yeah, that I was really happy that I could see and enjoy it, and of course take as much as candy with me back home, and to give it to all my friends who haven't had the possibility to go there themselves. Or uh, yeah, I was just happy, just so happy.
Yeah. I'm curious. You mentioned your friends that weren't able to go. What was it that allowed you to go as opposed to them? Was it just family, financial considerations? Why were you able to go to Germany, but maybe some of your friends didn't? Did they not want to, or what? Tell us more about that.
We were chosen because we had German lessons at school, and
Okay.
the best students who had the best results were chosen for the group. Yeah. So I think my interest for foreign languages has also started from there, because our first German teacher were actually uh, few of the teachers where we started were not so good. I had no interest. especially in German language. But then we got a absolutely best teacher in the world. And then already the opportunity came to travel to Germany, and not only once, but I think during gymnasium we went there twice. And also the German students came to visit us. No, then I was completely sold already.
Yeah.
And I started to study German language, then English, Russian, now Finnish. So as a person in a small country, I need to speak different languages. And
Well, that probably helps a lot with the business, and I'm sure it helps a lot with the business because you mentioned,
yeah, sure.
you guys are doing business throughout Europe.
Yeah.
Did the German kids that came to visit you in Estonia, were they studying Estonian?
No, 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 no. They just came to visit us, but they didn't have to study Estonian. They were just enjoying the free time so that they were away from home and from the parents, and they were pretty crazy.
Did they? So, what do you recall? Like, what did the German kids that came to Estonia? Do you remember what their impressions were at that time?
Young people, they were just happy to get away, and of course we try to provide these interesting programs and sightseeing as it was possible. And I mean, they had more money, of course, obviously, and then they could have more fun and then enjoy it here as well. So it was actually it was fine.
A question that I'm thinking that maybe some of our listeners are thinking. So, I grew up in the United States during this time. I remember when the wall came down. I remember where I was when I was watching it on the news. Um, and honestly, back then, if you'd asked me what the difference is between Estonia and East Germany, I would say, well, culturally, maybe, they're different countries. But the way I was raised is like every country in the Soviet Union was about the same when it came to finances or economic opportunity. I don't know if so I guess the question is when you say, well, obviously the German kids had more money and like, well, okay, that's interesting. I guess it wouldn't have been obvious to me. So help me understand what was going on that Germany. So what are you saying is Germany was much better off financially during those times than Estonia was?
Maybe not much better, but definitely better. I can remember one case. It was just the summer when Estonia got our own money, but it was early 90s. And when the Soviet or Russian ruble, it was already nothing worth.
Right.
So it was really, really low, and then the exchange rate, what we could exchange to our crowns, was really bad. So the first summer I can remember was really, really difficult for us. And then the Germans came to Estonia, and we went to eat in a restaurant. And I saw for the first time the 500 crown bill, which I have. I think my mother got 50 crowns when she or 50 or 70 or something. It was a really small amount in the beginning what we got. And then the Germans are coming and show, oh, I have here this 500. What can I get for it? No. So this was the difference. I have even seen this kind of sign, or how you say it now, 500.
Denomination. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
That is super, super. And these are like teenage kids showing up with.
No, this 500 had the teacher. Of
Okay,
course,
all right.
agreed. Still, the teacher was living in our apartment, so that's why I saw it too.
Okay. Because I'm thinking these kids are going to get robbed. Walking around flashing that kind of money. All right, let's stick on this topic for a little bit. Let's fast forward because I know a little bit about Estonia. I know a little bit about kind of the finances and some of the things they're doing, but maybe some of our listeners don't. So let's compare Estonia back then to what's going on in Estonia now. And I'm not asking you to, I don't expect you to be a financial, it's not a financial podcast, but let's give our listeners kind of an idea what's happening in Estonia now when it comes to that.
Oh, it's quite day and night, I would say, or night was then and day is now. So because now Estonia tends to be, I don't want to say is, but tends to be very modern and very fast forwarding, if possible to say like this. And I think all the companies who want to achieve something have already long time ago understood that Estonia is very small. If you want to achieve something, you have to go abroad. And this is what we have done as well. If we would work only in Estonia, we would be really tiny. But since I'm working all over Europe, we are doing fine.
Yeah.
Let's say so. Yeah, you have to be international and you have to go out from here because no, Estonia is so tiny. We are just a bit under 1.5 million people here. It's
And isn't Estonia one of the maybe more well-off countries financially in Europe, even though it's small, and I understand you need to leave the country to do business, but there's the people that live in Estonia are doing pretty well compared to other parts of Europe. Is that right, or am I wrong?
I don't know. I have an idea, but I don't want to criticize.
Okay. We can change the subject. I will ask you this.
Very difficult at the moment because I really don't want to go into politics, but at the moment our government is on a really wrong way.
Okay, well let's move right along. Let's move right along here because we don't want to get to the point where I have to come back and add it because.
For me, I'm doing fine. It's okay. So
Well, the reason I asked the question is because I understand you have things like electronic citizenship, and the banking industry there is quite a bit different than maybe some of the other countries. And I live the digital nomad life, so I travel around and I hear people talking about getting citizenship in in Estonia and some of the interesting things that are happening there. So that was just kind of what I was curious about.
Very advanced in this matter, very much advanced.
Yeah. It sounds like. I mean, I spend a lot of time in Latin America, and they're making some advancements here, but I think maybe some of the stuff you're doing is quite a bit different than what I've been seeing. But okay. Now we're going to go back again because I'm still fascinated by your childhood. I think that was super interesting. Your parents, what kind of work were they doing? Were they doing anything that would help explain how you ended up wanting to take German? And well, maybe you didn't want to take German until you found the good teacher. You mentioned that you weren't really that interested until that one teacher came along. But was there anything going on in your family that influenced you in doing that?
Not really. They were just simple people. My mother was a teacher. My father has been in construction business for his whole life. And just what was important to me is to get the good education, because this I already knew from childhood, beginning from my childhood, that good education is the key for everything. And this was important.
Well, you mentioned your mom was a teacher. You mentioned she was a teacher, so I suspect that might have had some influence on the education desire
true. And it's actually, I don't know how you say it now. It's popular, or it's very common in Estonia that we like to go to the university as well, and then to get the good education. So everybody knows that, and this is like this. But to come to back to this German language is that, like I mentioned, I come from a small town, and of course we didn't have so many opportunities there, and this German language seemed to be uh, very interesting, especially when I already knew that we have this partner school in Germany, and when it gives you the opportunity to travel, then of course you do all to get to this group, then to be chosen. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Because you said before that you were so not so interested, and he was a great teacher. Was he Estonian or was he German? Okay. Okay. If she didn't show up in your life at that time and really get you enthusiastic about German, do you think do you think you would have ended up going to Germany? Do you think, I mean, what role did that teach you play in your life, do you think?
Might be different.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have told her. Luckily, when we have these school reunions in EMEC 5 years, I have told her that she has a big role to play in my life where I am now, and how it has turned out.
I can imagine. It sounds like it. Does she speak, do you happen to know if she speaks English?
Yeah, yeah, she does. Mhm.
Well, you need to make sure she listens to this conversation. Give a big shout out to her. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
all right. So anyway, so go back. So when you went to school, tell me again, what were you studying in the university? Was it
German language and literature.
in literature? Okay.
This was the main, what's the word? And the economics was the
The
side.
major. Oh, so like the major, your major was
German
German and
language.
literature, and then economics, you said,
Yes, yes.
as your minor. Okay. Very cool. And I think we need to go here because you'd mentioned that it was pretty competitive to get the job there with the company. You mentioned that you really had to compete. So tell us more about that. What do you think? I don't know. Just tell us more about that.
Yeah, well, it was a real competition with, I now I don't remember exactly how many people came there, but definitely over 10. Then no, me and two more were chosen for the last round, and then we had to make um day in office to see how it all works, and it was tough because I was in Tartu in the university city during these days, and I had to come to Tallinn office. It's our capital. And no, when you are a young student with no much experience, then there are some important ladies sitting in the office. The first candidate comes, then the one comes, and I was the third one. And now they were already like had enough of the candidates. They were absolutely not nice to me. So I said, okay, I don't care. I want to have this job. You can do whatever you like to do, but I will get this job.
What
Then, yeah, I did.
what was it? What was it most about the job? We kind of touched on that it was an opportunity maybe to, engage with the rest of the world, tourism, hospitality. But in your own words, what was it that you wanted that job so badly for?
Yeah, back in the beginning of 2000s, it was really popular in Estonia to travel in Europe by bus because people had not so much money that they could travel by plane, and then they rented or chartered buses. And everybody, all groups went somewhere by bus, not by plane. And so then I was the sales manager for the tours in Europe. This meant when I got price request, it doesn't matter from which part of Estonia, then I had to take contact with this person who was in charge. Was it the teacher? Was it the manager? Was it some kind of a company or choir or whatever? And I had to go there and then plan this trip. And this was like the opportunity to go through this travel all by myself. Now you can think or imagine when I already traveled to the client and did all this, of course I got the contract. So this was our strategy back then. Now, when I get the request and I tell to the client that, come on, I want to come to visit you, everybody is laughing. No, send me an email offer. Nobody has this time anymore. So this has changed quite a lot. We just don't work the same way as we used to work 20 years ago. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Mostly it's only by emails. When it's getting a bit critical, then we call, but mostly we write.
All right. That's good. I've heard that advice before. Someone was telling me, Jason, if you sent more than 2 or 3 emails back and forth to discuss something, you should probably jump on a call.
Yes.
If something's going sideways, it's do not try and negotiate on an email type of thing. But anyway, so when you described that, when I asked you kind of why did you want that job and you described it, I got it. It clicked with me, and it might be similar to someone else at some point wanting to work for the airline. It's like, man, I want to go work for the airline, as sales director, a sales manager, or just sometimes any job with the airline is that opportunity to go travel. Because I suspect that for the last 25 years, if you wanted to go anywhere, you probably have the connections in this industry to just maybe not hop on one of your buses because they're mostly charter buses.
Actually, I could jump on our bus, and travel together with the group quite often. Because when you get in a nice contact with a client, then it happened quite often that I also had the chance to travel myself. Sometimes some group needed not a guide, but tour leader. And then I did this job, and I had really many options to travel with groups. For example, we got big clients from Finland, student organizations, and they had charter tours or ski trips to Slovakia and Poland all winter long. Of course, I could travel with them and also take my friends. So they had like 5 to 6 buses on the way every week, and I didn't have a family these days, and I was free to travel. So there were a lot of options to travel for me, and this what I loved the most.
You made a point of mentioning that back in those days, I didn't have a family. I was free to do what I wanted to do. So I think we need to chat about that. Are you still traveling? Do you have family obligations now that make that harder?
Yes and yes. I am traveling, and I have also the family obligations. But of course, I'm not traveling so much anymore. Mostly, when possible, I try to have the conversation on Zoom or Teams, and then to holiday, of course, then we need to travel. But I think I have traveled a lot when I had the best chances for that, and now it doesn't seem so important anymore. No, I just. Mhm.
I get that, and I'm curious though. Does your family enjoy traveling? Are they going to go a different direction than you've gone, or what? What do you think?
Yeah, I have two daughters, and they absolutely love to travel because I have taken them with me or with us always when it's possible. Also, sometimes on business trips, and they just love it.
Do you have any tips for our listeners that maybe have young children? Because a lot of our listeners work in the travel business. Do you have any tips for them on how to travel with their kids in a way that their kids will enjoy it?
You just have to be very cool. And when you travel with your kids, you cannot make any big plans. When the kids are with you, you just have to be flexible and travel in rhythm of children or children rhythm or how you say it well in English. So when they need to have sleep in the afternoon, then they have to have it. You cannot push them to stay awake until the evening because this will ruin the day anyway. Now, it depends on the children. I have really cool two daughters, and it's really enjoyable to travel with them. Also, I must admit that sometimes I have also told them that I don't go with two of you together. I take only one, and the next time comes the next one.
I can imagine, and I've got kids that are a little older now, but I also remember growing up when I was young. We were fortunate to travel quite a bit, but man, my brother and I just used to fight constantly. We were traveling the country in the U.S. with my dad every summer, and I think he spent more energy just trying to keep us from bickering and fighting with each other than really anything else. And I remember the first time that he said to me, I think I was 15 or something, and he said, "Well, I'm just going to take your brother on this trip." I was very offended, and it really hurt. And I remember he mentioned something about you guys not getting along, whatever, whatever. But I didn't hear that. I was just very upset. But now, a little older, a little bit more mature, I can appreciate why he might have wanted to just have one trip with him without fighting. And then he's gone on trips with me, and it works out. But anyway, a lot of fun. I suspect you've seen so many things over the last almost 25 years now that we could do a whole series tests about what to do, what not to do on a bus, or dealing with clients or working with tour operators and all these things. Unfortunately, we've only got this one episode now, so maybe we're going to need to come back and dig into that more. But before we wrap it up, I'm curious, what did I forget to ask you? What should I have asked you? Or what do you want to make sure that our listeners know either about you, Estonia, your company, your services? What do we want to make sure that they know?
Maybe the question why I am still here for so long time. Because
That's a question you probably ask yourself that a lot, I'm sure, but no, just kidding.
yes, that's
Yeah, okay.
true.
All right. Why are you still there?
Because I absolutely love this job because it's never routine. I couldn't imagine, for example, to work as a bookkeeper or accountant to deal all the same things constantly day by day. I mean, my job is every day new clients, new travels, new trips, new contracts, new adventures. It's never the same. And even now, after 25 years, there are situations where I can say that, oh, now I think I have seen it all. Then come the next phone call. Oh my God, I never had this kind of situation before in my life. So this is what it makes so interesting and then really enjoyable. So that I still, after 25 years, come to office and my eyes are shining, and
Yeah,
this is important.
I get that. I think that that's a common thread that I've seen through my career working in tourism, but also just through the conversations that we've had here on the show is I feel like everybody that's been on this show, it's like that idea of I don't think there's anything wrong with accounting. My father's an accountant, my daughter's an accountant. That skipped a generation.
It's
I
the
just
same
don't.
example.
Yeah, no, I get, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like I love accountants, but if I was looking at spreadsheets every day, all day, yeah, that would be really tough. And I think a lot of our listeners can resonate with that, and that just that desire for some adventure. Let's just call it, adventure. Like you don't know what's going to happen every day when you go to work, and dealing with clients definitely makes sure that you never know what's going to happen on any given day. So, what advice would you give to somebody that's listening to this that maybe is an accountant and it's not for them, and they want to get into the tourism business? Do you have one or two pieces of advice that you would give your younger self if you were going through this again?
Um, you have to
It
be.
doesn't have to be younger because it could be somebody my age.
You have to be very, very flexible. It's what I have learned. The plans are there just to change them. So I can plan whatever I like, but the clients have their own ideas, and then I have to reschedule.
That's a
So,
really that's a really good one. That's a good point because if your personality is such that you need some stability and certainty in your life constantly, and you're the type that needs to know what you're doing 3 weeks from now down to the hour, it might be a tough fit. But it's super interesting though, because as those of us that work in the industry, oftentimes we are building itineraries for clients that are very well thought out, very planned.
yeah, are good.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's interesting that we maybe sometimes build out these itineraries and make plans for people, but then maybe in our own lives we don't like having it all that structured, but our clients do. I don't know. What do you think?
Mhm. Might be the case, yeah.
It's
I mean, one thing is that I plan the trip for the client. Yeah.
uh
Now, this usually doesn't change, but I also need to plan the work for the buses and drivers. And tends to change too often.
yeah. There's a lot of moving parts. That's for sure. So, well, this has been a fast. Anything else you want to touch on before we wrap up?
Mm, you can ask something.
All right. Well, let's do this because I want to make sure our listeners, hopefully, kind of know a little bit about you. Um, we discussed you guys are doing, charters all over Europe. Really, it sounds. Um, you mentioned Morocco, right, and Turkey, and all that stuff. So, anybody that's listening to this, we're going to have a link to your website so they can go take a look and connect with you guys and develop some sort of partnership or whatever comes out of that. That's great. And so I just really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us, and let's come back and do it again sometime soon.
Thank you so much. It was very interesting. Thank you.
Thanks, Mari-Liis. I appreciate you, and we'll chat with you soon. Have a great day.
Thank you.
I trust you enjoyed listening to the conversation as much as I enjoyed recording it. If you're enjoying the Big World Made Small podcast, please take a moment to tell the algorithm by subscribing and posting a review so that others can benefit as well. I also invite you to take a quick trip over to bigworldmadesmall.com and join our private adventure travel community to receive new episode notifications, special access to our guest experts, and perhaps even some exclusive partner offers that we haven't discussed on the podcast. I'll publish another episode soon. Until then, keep exploring. It's the best way to make a big world feel just a bit smaller.